Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So to the San Diego Tribune we go, and here we have another example of a travesty that should not be happening here in America, but sadly it does. It says about a dozen people arrested for feeding the homeless in an El Cajon park. Yep. El Cajon police officers arrested about a dozen people for feeding the homeless at a city park on Sunday afternoon. The event was organized by a group called Break the Ban, which formed after the El Cajon City Council unanimously passed an emergency ordinance in October prohibiting the distribution of food on any city-owned property. City officials said the ordinance was a way to protect the public from hepatitis A. Yeah, right. But critics have called it a punitive measure to dehumanize and criminalize the homeless, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Mark Lane, one of the event organizers, said about 12 to 15 people were passing out food and toiletries to the homeless at Wells Park on East Madison Avenue when police arrived. About 40 more people, including several lawyers, also were there, but not actively passing out food. Some of those carried signs that had slogans like, "Feeding the hungry is not a crime." And while the event was intended to feed members of the homeless, it was also part of the group's plan to legally contest the ordinance. It was absolutely necessary, Shane Parmalee said, to break this law until they were willing to enforce it. And now that they have, we'll continue this fight in court. It's a familiar legal strategy that played a critical role during the civil rights movements and other social justice movements. The arrest began about 3:40 p.m. And according to a video Parmalee shared on Facebook, a police officer explained to the crowd that the city council had banned food sharing on public property. Now, everyone who was handed out food, including a 14-year-old child, was arrested, given a misdemeanor citation with a date to appear in court, and released. No one was taken away in handcuffs. And in one video, one officer can be heard explaining the citation was for failing to comply with a municipal ordinance as well as an emergency order recently passed by the city. And police won't comment, of course, and everything else. But this just goes to show you that we don't want to deal with our issues. At the end of the day, we don't want to. We don't want to look at our society and say, gosh darn it, we have flaws. We have some serious flaws that we have to deal with. We don't want to do that. Instead, we'd just rather ignore them and or straight out just, make these problem people go away. Make them somebody else's problem. We'll just make it illegal in our town, and then it'll be somebody else's town. You even see it in cities where they buy out whole sections of low-income housing, and they raise it, and then they put, high-end condos in their place and stuff like that. They literally are trying to engineer the poor out of their cities, but they need some place to go. I mean, you can do that all you want. You're not making the problem go away. You're just moving it somewhere else. Well, eventually these people are going to have no place to go. What are you going to do then? A lot of these homeless people have no place to go. A lot of these homeless people choose to be homeless because they're so sick and tired of the system. They're so sick and tired of being used and abused that this is what they do. They would rather have nothing than to be a part of this broken, apostate system that now exists in this country. And you can have all the cognitive dissonance you want and say, oh, yeah, no, this is the red, white, and blue. This is freedom and democracy, yada, 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 yada. I'm telling you, the founding fathers never, ever, ever envisioned this country to be the way it is today. And the fact that you had people willing to take time and spend their hard-earned money doing such a noble, charitable endeavor like this one, only to be arrested, is an outrage. It's a travesty, and we shouldn't put up with it, no matter what jackboot thug comes and tries to enforce it. And that's all you are out there, all you police that decide to enforce these inhumane laws. You're nothing more than a henchman, a stormtrooper. And I hope and pray that you go to sleep at night and you think and you pray long and hard about what you're doing because they do have consequences. You may not feel it one day, today, tomorrow, the next day, but I guarantee you one day it's going to come back on you tenfold. So think very, very carefully about how you enforce these inhumane bans on helping people. And that's really all it is. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free and comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Hashtag wake the flock up. Have a great day, everybody.